Anytime you mention the names Ford and GT of any variation, the GT40, the Ford GT, it gets people talking. This one especially did back in 1995. This is known as the Ford GT90 concept car that made its debut at the Detroit International Auto Show in 1995. People in many different publications have called this thing the spiritual successor to the Ford GT40 that was famous in the 1960s, and it was also kind of a precursor to the Ford GT that came out later on in 2004. It only took the engineers at Ford about 6 months to go from start to finish on this project, and they used some parts and equipment that they had in-house already. One of which was the chassis, which came from the Jaguar XJ220. The body of this car was made from carbon fiber, and it was a way for Ford to show off its new edge design. So there's a lot of angles and triangles, if you pay attention and look around on the car, that you'll see, especially when we get to the interior and then the back of the car as well. So like I said, you'll see a lot of emphasis on triangles. Why they chose triangles, I don't know, and it wasn't publicized anywhere I could find, but you'll see a lot of different triangles on this car all over the place. On the inside of this car, they went straight Eiffel 65, and it's a blue world in there. Like, this whole interior is blue, and it is wild looking. I like it, but this is going to be hit or miss with quite a few people. So as you can see, like I was talking about, there's a lot of triangles in this car all over the place. You can see that everything there is based off a triangle. Don't ask me about the color difference. I think this is the lighting that both of these pictures were taken in. But if you zoom in and look really close, you can even see that the key is a triangle. So they went all out with the triangles on this car. Under the hood was a 12-cylinder quad turbo monster making 720 horsepower, and this was actually really neat. They based this engine design off of the Ford modular motor, so with something like the 4.6 liter, and they basically added 4 more cylinders. So the bore was the same as a 4.6, but it was a 12-cylinder, and it had 4 turbochargers. They were Garrett T2 turbos, and man, that's just cool. So fun fact real quick as well about the V12. This is the first V12 that Ford had made since 1948 in the Lincoln Zephyr. So how fast was it? Well, there's no real documentation that I could find or that I know of that said, but Ford claimed that this would do 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. Quarter mile was 10.9, and it had a top speed of an estimated 253 miles an hour. You take that with a grain of salt as you like. So you might be asking, why didn't Ford make this if this is so cool? Well, the reason is probably money. This was an expensive car to produce as is, but it would have been a really cool competitor to all the European counterparts. Overall, this is an amazing concept car, and it may have actually paved the way for Ford to build the GT later on in 2004. One cool note about this, though, is you can go look at it if you want to. This is available at the Hejek Auto Museum in Ames, Oklahoma, and you can buy a ticket, go tour the museum, and go take a look at the Ford GT90.